All right, we're going to get started. This is a regular scheduled board meeting for Edgewood City Schools. Mrs. Bauer, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Here.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Here.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Present.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Here.
Mr. Andrew Pressler.
Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Reisman.
Our Father in heaven, we bow our heads and our hearts before you and want to offer praise to you. Thank you for your goodness, your kindness. We're reminded of it through the years. We're reminded of it this present day. Life sometimes is difficult, sometimes is especially challenging. But we thank you for the lessons that we've learned to lean upon you, to look to heaven for help and for guidance. And Lord, always you have come through, you do come through, and you will come through. We just want to praise you for that. Ask your blessing here, O Lord, upon the Edgewood City School District. We're grateful for so many people who labor so much of it done simply because of the love in their hearts for the young people of this community. Lord, we ask that you'll give guidance and direction as we all seek to work together. And Lord, that we might be a part of your hand in leveling up our community and helping this community just to be a community that reflects that neighborliness that the scripture talks about. Now we pray your blessing here upon the meeting. We pray it in the name of the Lord Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Ryder. Before we get started this evening, I'd like to welcome Mr. Phil Pott up here on stage. He's been a pillar in this community for a long time. I can't really say that he wanted to be up here with us at this time, but we do appreciate it and appreciate all the work you've already put in. This time I'm going to look for a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Mr. Michael Pressler, do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft. Mrs. Bauer, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Next up, we have Mr. Tom York with Butler Tech presentation.
Thank you. Now, I'm going to have to ask, which button do I push, the up and down or the right to left to get to my next picture? Either. All right. So, normally I just talk about, you guys will be able to see everything from there. We talk about the building projects. That's a drawing of the current Bioscience Center with the new addition that's being built. It's to the right, and it's what it will look like. There's also a complete basement that's being put, it's part of that, and it's being finished as well for a future program. We're hoping that it's going to be a radiology program, but we don't know that. I keep stumping for that, but we'll see what happens. But that is the building that you see on I-75 as you're going south towards Cincinnati from Cincinnati, Dayton, Tylersville, in that area there. But we have kids coming out of there, phlebotomists, nursing students, and so forth. It's a great building for Butler Tech. That's some of the construction pictures when they were. Some of these pictures are reversed, but that is the foundation work that was being done. Foundations, tie and steel. Anybody ever do that? That was one of my summer jobs when I was going to college. It's a great thing to do. makes you want to finish school for sure. You can see a little bit better the scope of this. Actually, that will be connected to that building to the left. It just doesn't look like it, but it will be connected. Okay, this one, if you've driven by the airport in Middletown, this is the building that started there. This is our aviation building. The program has been meeting in an old hangar that Butler Tech renovated, and we've had students graduating from that program, but this will be the brand new program. You're looking at it from Route 4, and the Warbirds Museum is across that white strip that you see there. But yeah, that's the aviation. Now, Michael, you asked me a question about the programming. I did get the answer for that. There are 3 certificates that the kids can graduate from in that program. One of them is that A&P certificate, which stands for airframe and power. The other one is Part 107 FAA drone operator's license, which, as I understand it, is part of the process. One of the steps in getting your pilot's license, I think that's what I've been told. And then you can also get a private pilot's license in this program. All the kids graduate with at least 2 of those 3 things on their resume when they leave that program. So it's a pretty awesome opportunity for our young people.
Thank you for giving me that.
Your buddy. That's that side. You know, one of the things that they had to do is increase the cost is they had to put some of that soil stabilization material in there. You all know what that is. If you don't, the parking lot that y'all parked in for the board office and the high school lot across the berm there, we had to do that years ago because there's a spring under there. And we had to do the same thing, put that parking lot in, pave it, and make it usable. Ooh, we don't want to look at that for too long, but they're footers. And I think that's it. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to do that. Those projects, I know maybe some people might say, how does Butler Tech have the money to do that? They have the money to do that because of grants that they have written and they've been given. I think that project, the aeronautics program building, $28 million, and half of that was given to Butler Tech through the county commissioners, and then half of the remainder was given to them by the Middletown governmental agency, probably their city commissioners, I don't know. And then the other part, the smaller part, Butler Tech is chipping in for that. So, and John let us know that that money would be covered by a grant as well. So all their projects have been grant funded, and they've been really fortunate with that. Right now, there's a very big interest in supporting career tech education, and they're reaping the benefits from that. So, graduation for Butler Tech is May 20 at Cintas Center at Xavier, and May the 1st this week is going to be this could be the official county board meeting program. Again, there will be senior projects that you guys will be able to observe, judge maybe, and have dinner. So you're all welcome to go there and to attend that. That's it. You have any questions?
Is there any dates as far as like when these projects could possibly be completed?
Mr. Gabbard, I think the airport project is going to be 2 years down the road, and the bioscience center is going to be, I think, 18 months, from what I understand.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Philpott. you probably get this in your superintendent meetings, but that is a legislative report. It gives a summary of all the current stuff that's being talked about in Columbus. So if you want to get involved with that and go and talk to those guys and ladies, you're welcome to do that for sure. So
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity to be on this board. I really enjoy it. It's been, it's always a great experience. So thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Chartwell. I'm not sure who's presenting this evening. Mrs. Bowers might know a little more about this.
Troy, can you start with a brief introduction of
I
yourself
sure
and
will.
Tech?
All right, there we go. All right. Well, first, thank you for having us here this evening. My name is Troy Ruger with Chartwells. I'm the Regional Sales Director. This is Will King. He's our Area Director, so he covers the entire state of Michigan, so he manages all of our accounts that we are in Ohio. He manages all the accounts we currently have in Ohio. So I'll just give you a brief overview about us, a little bit about Chartwells. So has anybody heard, or have you all heard of a company called Compass Group? So it's what I say, it's the largest company that nobody's heard of. So Compass Group is the 9th largest employer in the world, and we're the largest purchaser of food in the world. So everything that you see up there, those are all under the umbrella of Compass Group. So you can see business and industry, education, healthcare, sports and leisure. So all those companies are under our umbrella with Compass Group. And what makes us, all those companies make us that largest purchaser of food, because all these are food management companies. So our partnerships here in Ohio, this is kind of a breakdown of what we have here in Ohio through all those companies. You can see off to the left there, University of Toledo, we do Cleveland Brown Stadium, we do Ohio State. The school right, I think it's just south of you, is Hamilton. So we work with them. So we have a lot of partnerships here within the state to support you. And this is just Chartwells here by the numbers. So we currently are the largest provider of K-12 food in the nation with 700 plus districts. Serve over 2 million meals a day. And our retention rate with all those is a little over 97%. So I'm going to hand this over to Will, and he's going to talk a little bit about our food and our programs.
All right. Again, thank you for having us here tonight. I'm the area director for Ohio, so I'm the operations guy. Troy's in the sales, so we kind of work together. But I would be the person that would be your local support. And you know, good for you. I only live about 40 minutes away here. I live in Centerville, Ohio. So, and I'm familiar with this area. I was just kind of talking tonight. I've actually got some family that used to go here in Edgewood City, so that's kind of neat. But let's talk more about Chartwells and what Chartwells can bring to you. First off and foremost, it is our food and our menus. We have a huge support network of chefs and dietitians, and we have our recipe database is over 10,000 strong. Of course, we're not going to bring 10,000 recipes here, but with that, we can really make those menus specific for your school and what the students want, so we get that feedback. Improving our collaboration, consistency, and communication. I would meet with you monthly. You would meet with your director as well as often as needed, and we talk about what your district needs. We talk about the finances, the food. We're going to have a really good partnership there, and we're going to give you a lot of feedback, and we're going to take the feedback you have for us. Kind of talked about that local support, which I'm close by, but also our directors. They have that peer network all here in Ohio, so I bring them together all the time. We meet every other month in person. We talk about what's working at other schools, what's not, and we're always looking at ways to get better to serve your district. And listen first approach. We love surveys, getting that feedback from the staff, from the students, from the community. So we really want to make sure that we're meeting your needs. And all that is going to really increase your participation. Whenever we go into a district, first thing that happens is participation goes up, because really kids eat with their eyes, and we know kids have a palate with the restaurants that are out there today, and Food Network and all that. They know what good food is. So scratch cooking, the seamless implementation. What is scratch cooking? Scratch cooking is making recipes by scratch. A lot of school districts now do a lot of heat and serve, where they just get the food, they heat it, and off it goes to the students. Well, we're going to incorporate, we won't overwhelm your staff, but what we'll do is we'll start to incorporate scratch cooking and teach them the skills they need. Knife skills, food safety, how to implement batch cooking. Batch cooking is kind of cooking food throughout the day so that the kids are getting the most fresh product at the time. They're not, cooking or eating something that was cooked that morning and then served in the afternoon. The culinary training, we'll bring in our chefs. I went to culinary school as well. We'll also bring in our regional chefs, and we'll work with your team to make sure that they have the skills necessary to be able to do that. And then free meals, that's just something, there's different programs out there, CEP, things that we can work with your district if that's something you're interested in or not. But we also work with the free and reduced and making sure that all those applications are good and keeping your district compliant. When I talk about concepts, we will bring a lot of different concepts to your district. And a concept is, well, it's like a station that your student's going to eat at. So for example, we're not going to run all these, that's just too many, but we'll take the most popular ones. So you see one up there called Sono, that's going to be kind of like a Chipotle concept. Or Tomato is going to be our pizza concept. There's grilled, it's going to be sandwiches. So there's lots of stuff up there. I think the most exciting one I like is the first one in the top left-hand corner called Extra Extra. And we put a bar out where kids can get all the extra fruits and vegetables they want every day. We don't put a limit to it. So. Also, we do a lot of programs to keep students engaged with us. Discovery Kitchen, that's where we're actually out cooking food in front of the kids and letting them ask questions and get out of their comfort zone and try new things. That's really, all these programs are kind of geared around that. Mood Boost is more geared toward elementary students. Global Eats is geared toward around recipes from around the world. And then Student Choices, where we bring in different recipes and we let the students actually vote. So we'll get to try a couple of different things. They say this is their favorite, it's on the menu. And then our industry experience. So Troy was talking about Compass being such a large company. I still want you to know that we still have that small hometown feel to us. It's not like you're going to be, this big company's going to be in here. Really, I work directly with the director, and that's who you're going to see. You may see our regional dietitian or our regional chef come in, and we're here to really support you. So audit readiness. I went through 14 audits last year for procurement audits. Administrative reviews, whatever. We are the experts in those. If you're having issues or not, but we'll get you through those audits 100%. You won't have any worries. Food allergies. We take that extra step to make sure your staff is trained. We do an extra one called Fair Check to make sure that they understand the importance of allergies and then keeping students healthy. Nutrition information. We share all that. There's a platform called NutriSlice. Menus would be on there. Any type of allergen or nutrition information is shared. It's really simple for parents. They can get it on a mobile app or on the computer, whatever they'd like. We'll help you out with any grants that may be eligible for your district as well. And then nutrition education. If you have any additional education you want with, say, a culinary program or with the athletic program, we're happy to really do those extra programs for you. And then food safety, that's most important. And we're always making sure that everything is, product temperature every day, temperatures, cooking temperatures, make sure it's holding times. We're really focused on making sure food safety is a priority. And so that's really all we have. We'd like to answer any questions you have. We kind of went quick because you're at a board meeting, and we really just want to give you kind of a high-level overview of what Chartwells could bring toward your district. And if you have any questions, or Troy, if you have anything you'd like to add.
I just have two comments to make real quick. So, being that we are such a large company, we are the largest purchaser of food, the benefit to an Edgewood City Schools is the rebate. So everything that we buy, so when we buy, let's just say chicken nuggets, we're buying hundreds of millions of chicken nuggets. You're probably in a buying consortium today. That consortium is probably giving you rebates somewhere around 2 to 3%. What you're going to find with Chartwells is a huge cost saving. It's going to probably be somewhere around that 15 to 18%. So if you think about how much food you're purchasing think about, let's just say 15% of that coming right back to the district. So that's just a huge cost savings that's coming back to you. So that's one huge benefit to going with Chartwells. The second, we will work and train your staff in levels of efficiency. Will was talking about his team and all the support. That's another main thing is all this training, and we have unsurpassed training that will help your staff become more efficient in ways that they probably don't realize today. So we have all that support that's going to help them as well. So all really boiling down to, that cost saving piece for the district.
Yeah. And if you'd like references, we can actually give you some of our partners and you can talk to them.
So I have a couple questions. So what you're proposing is basically you're going to manage our cafeterias, what you're proposing, correct?
Yeah, so my understanding is, again, we have so many, we're flexible with whatever platform, so if you want to keep your employees on the Edgewood payroll, that's fine. We would just come in, the director would work for Chartwells, and then we would help manage your staff for you, but we would work with you. It would be a partnership there as far as managing the team. But what we're going to bring as far as training and resources to them, it's really hard to beat what we can bring.
So what does this cost us? I know you said that we potentially are saving up to 15% on food costs.
Yeah.
What do we cost or what do we save and what do we get out of this?
So the first steps, you would go out for RFP, a request for proposal to the state, and then there is a fee to use Chartwells, but as Troy was saying, that we're going to give you so much back in rebates that kind of really offsets any cost to you. Those are details that we would provide to you in a proposal, in a written proposal. You could go through that and then look at the details from there. But cost savings in general, the rebates are huge. It's kind of hard to beat the rebates that we can provide.
So if we were interested in this, what's the length of a contract? How long are we committing to do this?
In the state of Ohio, every contract is 1 year, but you would be forced to go out to RFP every 5 years. So let's say we start a contract once a year, it'd just be a one-page renewal, really simple. But every 5 years, you would have to go through the RFP process. So during that process, you would have to invite other vendors in. They would have to give you their proposals as well.
Would there be somebody on site every day?
Oh yeah, the director would be the Chartwells employee, and they would be on site every day.
So you understand we have 5 buildings, and not all of them are close. They're spread out across the district. So they would be physically present in each cafeteria at least a couple times a week, I'm assuming.
Correct. Yeah, they probably would be in every building every day, but they would work with your leads that you have to give them the tools they need, and then they would visit every school building throughout the week. And of course, on top of that, they're going to be assisting you with all of your claims, the state, keeping you compliant, doing menus, working with production records, production records or not, but production records, every school has to keep production records for audits and things like that. So they're also taking care of all the administrative responsibilities as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Mark. I'm interested. I mean, I'd like to definitely have Patty reach out. Let's get some type of proposal together.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can help you with that. I mean, you really have to go to the state. The state offers you a template. You have to fill out the template. We can't really help you in that process, but if you have questions, you can feel free to reach out to us through that process.
When you guys go to school, you give the employees the opportunity to stay Edgewood employees, but do you also have the opportunity to become Chartwell employees?
We do, yes. So as Will was saying, there's a lot of ways that we can do this. They can stay on your books. We can offer for people to come over, or we can do kind of a hybrid, maybe some come, some stay, and we do it through attrition. So as people retire, move on, then they would just be hired through Chartwells. So we have several that do it like that.
What's the benefit versus staying on the books in Edgewood versus coming to Chartwells? Is there a benefit one way or the other? Just comfort for some people? Is there a benefit financially?
I would say when we look at the numbers, there could be a benefit financially just because we typically would pay a little bit more than you would. So that could be one. Two, just because we aren't under the umbrella of such a large company, there are a lot of benefits for working for a company like Chartwells. And you saw that slide with all of the places that we currently service. There's opportunity to not just stay as a food service person, but maybe can move up and move around. The training is fantastic, and a lot of our directors or management, they move from within and just kind of move up. So there's a lot of those great opportunities too when they join with a Chartwells.
One of the issues I think we face here, and it's probably been since COVID, maybe even before COVID, is we have a pretty big negative balance in our food service
Yes.
due to just unpaid charges, and every year that
Yeah.
gets kind of carried over
Yeah.
and starting to drag down
Yeah.
the bottom line of operating expenses. Do you guys try to tackle those debts somehow?
We will work with you to do that. So the biggest thing with the Chartwells, we both kind of alluded to, how you build a program or how financially build it. One, you can cut, right? So you cut staff, and that's not what we want to do. We would rather build through building the participation. So putting food out there that kids want to eat. The more they eat, the higher that fund balance is going to go. And that's our driver. And then obviously with all the savings you get with us, that's the other piece. So those are the two pieces that we focus on, is really getting that participation up, getting kids the food they want, and then through our cost savings, building that fund balance, which will take care of all this other stuff. Yeah.
But let me add to that. I mean, I understand exactly what you're going through. We have other districts that are struggling with that issue. I think just a lot of communication through the community, and how do we address that, right? And setting policies with the community on how to get the students to pay, but also looking at your free and reduced percentages and see if CEP is an option for that or not. So we'll talk through all those options. First thing we have to do is really do a deep dive into your finances and try to see what options there are.
I have one more question. As far as retirement, do you pay the same retirement that we pay into?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
sorry. If they were Chartwells employees, the only thing that looks different is their paycheck. That's it. They still get, we still pay reserves on their behalf, so we still pay that 14%. Everything is the same, so they don't lose any of that. We offer a lot of benefits and, just the stuff that comes with being, like I said, with a big company, so.
Do the benefits change?
Yeah, different benefit package, because they would, if they were to join Chartwells, they would get a Chartwells benefit package. So
Yeah.
that is a cost savings to the district. Typically, because we're so large, our benefits would be cheaper.
And they're really good benefits, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank
Appreciate you having us.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one more presentation this evening. It'll be facilities and maintenance.
Okay, I just wanted to provide a little bit of an update on some of the permanent improvement and maintenance facility projects that we've talked about throughout the year. Primarily roof maintenance and projects and parking lot paving. Those were two that we were tasked with getting quotes and bids, and just wanted to show you where we're at and give you some the opportunity to discuss and let us know how we want to move forward with this summer. So first and foremost, the permanent improvement fund, I spoke with Patty the other day just to get some numbers and where the permanent improvement fund is financially, and just a recap on what permanent improvement funds can be spent on. So if you go to that bottom bullet, permanent improvement funds can only be used for permanent improvements to the buildings or facilities, with the exception of permanent improvement funds can also be used to purchase buses and bulk technology. So when we talk about permanent improvements, we essentially, the definition of it is a little bit gray, but we typically look at it from the standpoint of, does it prolong the life of the building by 5 years or more, and is it a permanent fixture to the building? So like Patty said, if you flipped the building upside down, would it stay put? Is it something that's going to be permanently there? So again, that's a little bit gray, but roofs, parking lots, building projects, those types of things would fall into that category of permanent improvements. So to start the year, fiscal year 2025, the Permanent Improvement Fund held $2.2 million. This year, we received an additional $1.3 million to that fund due to some of those increased revenues from property taxes. And again, this Permanent Improvement Fund cannot be used for salaries, for benefits, for daily operational costs, things like that. It's strictly some of these permanent improvement projects, so very specific to what we can use it for. The PI fund currently holds $2.9 million after expenses and encumbrances. So we've done some projects, some smaller things throughout the year. That's where the PI fund sits today at this time. So as we talk about some of these projects, just keep that number in mind, and you don't want to totally exhaust the PI fund in the event that something major comes up. We've got huge, chillers and boilers and HVAC systems and things like that. So just like your house, you wouldn't want to totally diminish your savings and things for some of those emergency issues that may arise. So permanent improvement projects that have already been approved, these have been approved at previous board meetings. So again, just to kind of keep those numbers in mind, we've approved for Johnson Controls to come in and upgrade our controls at the primary school. This allows, it updates and upgrades the programming and allows some of that to be done remotely. We have it in all of the other buildings. The primary school is the only building that didn't have that upgrade. So we have approved and a plan to do that this summer. 2 rooftop unit replacements at the middle school. We bid that out, and we had 6 different companies bid that for us, and we typically use Johnson Controls for our HVAC, but the BRA came in slightly under. So for mechanical stuff, we can use the BRA for that project. That's also scheduled to be done this summer as well. We are also currently in the process of refinishing the new gym floor at the middle school. That's being done right now. So that was approved. All of the other gym floors got a recoat, which we typically do annually for maintenance. This one is getting a fresh finish. So if you went in and looked at it right now, don't do that. You can't walk on it, but it's totally sanded down to nothing. They're in the process of repainting and refinishing that. So it's going to be beautiful when it's done. So those are 3 things that we've already approved. And we'll take a look at the roof and the paving projects here. So we worked with a company called Garland DBS, and they came out and did some free roof assessments for us and determined that we had 3 sort of priority areas for the roofs. The building on the left is EPS, on the right is EECC. The middle school was the 3rd building, but that part of the roof that they identified is still under warranty. So we can do some work on that to fix the issues under warranty at no cost to the district from previous work that's been done. So when we had them come out and bid, we had them only bid the projects at the primary school and EECC. And they bid them in like bid item 1, and you can kind of see the cost up there with those additional alternate sections on there. So we can go back to that, but I don't want to take up too much time. So those are the sections that they identified as priorities. In order to do a complete rebuild of those roof sections, it would be about $1.1 million. That's significant. Those are significant projects. My recommendation would probably be to go more of a roof maintenance and repair route at this time. So on the table that you're looking at, the column in the middle where it says infrared scans, we've talked to Garland. They will come out and they'll do infrared scans of all of our buildings to identify issues, wet areas, things that you wouldn't be able to see just with your eyes, not active leaks, things that are sort of occurring underneath that we would need to deal with. So the idea would be to have the scans done on all of the buildings and then have them identify specifically where the issues are that we could then turn around and do some repairs and maintenance on them that way. That way it saves us money to do it that way because they're identifying where the issues are first, and they only charge on time and material. So instead of them climbing up on the roof and just sort of wandering around trying to find the issues, based on the scans, from the information from the scans, we already know where the issues are. So that's an option. So there's essentially two options with the roofs. There's the total replacement of those roofs, or there's the option to do the infrared scans and then manage and maintain the roofs as they are as we move forward. Any questions on roof information?
So if we do the repairs, what's the life of that?
Yeah, so, you know, ultimately, like I spoke with Frank, he's the sort of the account guy that we've been working with. I spoke with him today, and he said, you know, ideally what you would do is you would do a maintenance plan for a building like the high school, because it's a newer building. And so if you do a heavy, consistent maintenance plan on a newer building, you can extend the life expectancy of the roof by about 20 years. You know, the intermediate school has a metal roof, so the maintenance on that looks a little bit different. It's far less than it is on some of the other buildings. EECC has a big section of the building that's also metal roof. So, you know, we could buy some time on those other sections that we need to deal with. Ultimately, what he said is, and I've got all these pictures and inspections and all of that kind of stuff, but there's already 2 layers of roof on those sections that they quoted. They can't come over and they can't come and put another section on top of it. So that all has to come off and a new system has to be put on. So that's why the cost is so high for those sections that they bid for us.
Do you have when we get into the pavement piece, do you have a breakdown like this?
I do.
So we can kind of get an idea on the total amount of money you're proposing to spend? Because I do have some questions, but I want to wait to see what total price tag is going to look like.
I'll move into the paving and then we can kind of go back to that. So again, we had the same process. We had about 6 or 7 different paving companies come out and look at our parking lots, assess them. Anybody who's driven around, certainly the middle school has noticed that there are significant issues in the parking lots around. So we actually had them bid 2 separate options for us. You'll notice on the right, the minimum repairs, that is like strictly a band-aid. That's going to be more chasing cracks, crack filling, and then just sealing areas of the parking lots. Their recommendation, and quite frankly my recommendation, is to look at the recommended repairs. That's going to be a lot more significant, where you're talking about doing some milling, 2-inch milling, 4-inch milling, looking at the catch basins, which if you drive around the middle school where all those catch basin drains are, that's where some of our significant areas are. That's gonna address those issues as well. So we had them come out and look at, and I've got pictures of all of this stuff too. So that's what you're looking at cost-wise per building. Off the top of my head, and I can go back to this, but I want to show you just kind of what they presented us with. So again, their priority, urgent need, priority 1 is the middle school, both sides of the middle school, and the bus lot. So if you look at the picture on the left, the blue, that is from the area behind the Premier Health building, all the way up that left side of the building, all the way to that open parking lot that's to the left of Cougar Lobby and the auditorium. So that's that side. The picture in the middle is going to be the other side, the right side of the building. It's coming around the back of the tennis courts and the football field, in front of the field house, and up to kind of the bus lot. And then the picture on the right is your bus lot. So everything that you see in blue, they're recommending a 2-inch mill. So they're gonna take 2 inches off the top, fill cracks, address major issues, and then, like essentially repave it and seal it that way. Everything in teal is crack filling and seal coating. And then your purple is gonna be 4-inch milling, so they're taking 4 inches off the top. And part of the reason that we identified that area in the middle picture is there's so much bus traffic, heavy bus traffic and turning that happens right there, that it's deteriorating that area of the parking lot significantly. Any questions on any of that?
Well, okay, so help me, I don't know, what is teal? Come on here, am I missing?
So if you look at the left picture, it kind of tells you the teal area, anything in teal is just gonna be crack filling and then seal coating, putting.
No, like where is the teal on this? It looks all the same to me.
Oh.
Is it?
Looks more
You,
green.
yeah,
Oh, it's
you might
better.
be able to
Okay.
get better.
Yeah, I
Sorry
see
about
that.
that.
Okay, like on here, there's
No.
really not a difference, I'm like, I'm not seeing teal. I'm not crazy, it's just on here. Okay, I got it now.
And like, so to put this into perspective, the minimum repair option that you saw on the right, if you look back at these pictures, all of those little neon green boxes in that left picture, those are our catch basins that we have all around the middle school. Those weren't addressed at all in the minimum repairs. They would do some minimal work to that, but this is talking about lifting them, like grading them, milling them, and making it so that we don't have standing water, we don't have the potholes, all of that kind of stuff.
Did they by chance do any kind of camera stuff and look down inside there to see if we had any damage to piping or anything underground?
Yeah, so that's part of the process. We do have some water that stands if you're coming out of Cougar Lobby on that left side where you see there's a catch basin right there. We do have some water that does stand right there. Prior to doing any of this, we would do some camera work in those drains to see what's going on under there. They did not do it. We would do that first and then address that issue before they came in and did it.
When you say we would do, who would actually do that?
Well, we would probably hire like 4 Aces can come out and do it for us. They've got the ability to do the cameras. Our maintenance team has worked with 4 Aces to do some of that. We did a project that was very similar at ABCC 2 summers ago.
I just would hate to spend this kind of money on the parking lot and then we find out we've got a busted pipe underneath, we gotta cut it all up.
That's the only area that we see that standing water that we would look at to be concerned about that. So the other priority that they mentioned was an urgent need is also its EIS. So again, if you're looking at those pictures, you've got this essentially the front staff parking lot of EIS, the driveway that goes from the field house up to the building. So that's the front with all the red squiggly lines. That's crack chasing, that's crack filling that they would do in that parking lot before they sealed it. And then you've got the back area on the right side, which is where student pickup and drop off is. Where they would recommend doing a little bit of a heavier mill on that back because of the traffic, and there's sitting cars on there. I mean, for an hour and a half every day, there's cars sitting there that just deteriorates the parking lot over time.
What's the flow of traffic coming in for drop off in the morning? Do they drop off in the front of the building?
No, buses go in the front of the building. And again, that's why if you look at that left picture where it's purple, that little turnaround in front of the building, we would have them do a heavier mill and a more significant repair there because that's where the buses go through every single day. In the morning and in the afternoon, they come in off Booze and Bark where the blue is on the right picture, and they go down like the little right square section, rectangular section, and then come swing back around and go out the same way they came in.
So in the picture on the left, when they go through that little loop right there where the purple is, which way do they go?
They come in from Booze and Bark, and then sometimes they'll turn and go back out Booze and Bark, or they'll go back to the bus garage past the field house. It just depends on what their route is typically.
Okay.
So that they identified essentially the middle school and the intermediate school as like urgent needs. The most significant damage to the parking lot, the most significant need for repairs. And then I do have the pictures of the other buildings. So on the left you have the primary school, and on the right you have EECC. And so same kind of thing, the blue color is your 2-inch mill and overlay, your teal is just gonna be seal coating. And a lot of this, the conversation had to do with, like, if you notice the pictures on the right, that front lot at the primary, am I looking at it right? Oh no, that's EECC. That's essentially a parking lot. It gets traffic, but it's not, you don't have as much traffic flow kind of going through there. So they felt like it was sufficient to just kind of seal coat that for now.
Is there a high school slide too?
There's not, because it's concrete, so we didn't have them quote that. That would be a totally different project.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we don't have any blacktop here at the high school? I didn't realize that.
Good move.
So essentially that's all I have. You'll notice down in the agenda there are some, there's quotes and things, but wanted to present you guys with the numbers and the information for you to be able to talk about what makes the most sense moving forward. Like I said, we have $2.9 million in the PI fund, but
Can you go back to that slide that broke it down by building, the recommended and the,
that
that. So the difference between recommended at EPS and minimum is pretty significant. That's because they're basically saying we need to regrade that. We need to take up the 2 inches and put it back down.
essentially when you're looking at the minimum repairs, you're really just talking about crack filling and then sealing it. So is it gonna look nice? Yes. Does it buy us some time? Yes. But is it a true repair? No. And we're gonna end up with potholes, we're gonna end up with those catch basins are gonna continue to be an issue. So it just, again, like the roofs, it's just a matter of what direction do we wanna go and how do we wanna navigate it.
I have a blacktop driveway and the crack filling doesn't really seem to hold up more than one winter. It doesn't. So, and honestly, I don't know really how much the seal coating does to preserve.
We did some crack filling early in the year. And again, some of those larger cracks in the parking lots that you could, stick your fingers in and things like that. Again, it's a Band-Aid. Our maintenance team has done some cold patch and stuff in some of the larger potholes. There's a pothole in front of EIS that I think it's like 18 inches deep. I mean, it's the biggest pothole I've ever seen. And I had them put some cold patch in there and fill it. And he said they had to, they were putting everything they could in there. It was almost like it was just never ending. I mean, we really need to do some work to manage these parking lots.
So we're looking at, the roofing repairs that you were suggesting was how much?
Again, my recommendation is to do the scans and then to go on, kind of a building by building repair at this time. But again, we have the bids, we have, companies that are willing to come in and do the total replacement of the roofs, and those are estimates. I mean, again, that's gonna vary depending on what the scans show us, and I would have them do the scans. I spoke with him today. He could do them in probably the next couple of weeks, weather dependent, and then have him really give us a breakdown of each building. What are we looking at repair-wise, and what's the cost to do those kind of heavy repairs?
Those parking lot estimates, that includes restriping the parking lot?
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry about that.
So you're basically proposing about $850,000 to do the whole thing, which is gonna leave us with right around $2 million in permanent improvement. In your opinion, is there anything that we need to be necessarily concerned? If we spend this money now, is there anything that you're necessarily concerned about that we're gonna have problems with in the next 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when I speak with Donnie Coons, who's our HVAC technician, you know, we talk about HVAC, the chillers here at the high school are, you know, we've lost some units. I mean, it runs and it's certainly compliant and it's fine, it's operational, all of those things, but as it gets older, you know, this building's 13 years old-ish at this point. You're looking at life expectancies on some of those things, 15 to 20 years. So, you know, it's one of those, if you get it before it all goes completely out, you're looking at maybe $1 million. If it all goes completely out, you have to redo the entire system. And we have a geothermal, so we would have to look at what that looks like. So to answer your question, I don't know. I mean, I can't predict those things, but we have talked about some of those things. And my conversations with Patty are, you know, leaving $1 million to $1.5 million in the PI fund would cover anything, you know, significant, and we do get money that goes into that fund every year. So that gives us a little bit of a cushion and sort of a contingency plan if we needed it.
Are we planning to vote on this tonight? Is that what the?
There is, yeah, it's an agenda item down there. We can amend if you want to do partial. This information is all in that orange folder. I know Mr. Gabbard, I think Michael already had one to look at, but.
Well, so when you say that we have 2.9, including the encumbrances, is that the stuff that's already counted with the things that are gonna be done this summer? Is that already pulled out of that 2.9, or is that still being counted in the 2.9?
I think those things, are those encumbered?
They're encumbered.
Those
We
are
haven't paid them, but we have opened purchase orders for them.
Okay, so 2.9 already, okay.
Well,
So is there a way that we could do the roofing scans tonight and then see what they say? I mean, because I'm afraid if we approve something, then they're like, oh, you need to do this.
I think that's the way that it's in there is
Okay.
for the scans only at this time, and then unless there was discussion to do something with the full replacement, but that would.
Okay. And would it be beneficial to have 4 ACEs come out before we approve the parking lot thing? And it's just like, I don't know.
I mean, I think that the sooner that we can approve the parking lot work, you know, we can ensure that it gets done in a timely manner and making sure it's done before the school year and we can get it done over the summer and things like that. I can certainly work on that and have them come out and we can look into it.
Have you got any idea how old those pipes are in the ground out there?
100 years.
it's hard to say. I'm not sure.
Like I said, we had a similar issue at the ECC when I very first started in this position. And our maintenance team, they essentially did the work themselves. I think we had some equipment that we used. I think the Turners donated some equipment to us. We were able to, my very first day on the job, I think I walked up and the maintenance guys were in an 8-foot hole and they were fixing a pipe. So this is work that potentially we could do on our own. We just had 4 ACEs come out. They helped us with the camera work to see what was going on in there, but we did the fix on it. So I think that's kind of what we're looking at is we think that that's something that we could probably manage on our own.
Okay.
Do you guys want to table this as far as a vote on any of this blacktop work?
I'm okay with voting on it tonight.
Okay. I think we don't want to just have a gravel pit. I mean, it's very substantial.
We got to do something, especially at the middle school. That
Yeah.
parking lot it's dangerous. Really, it's not safe in my opinion, especially in the winter time.
My proposal would be to do EIS, EMS, and the bus lot. And them are probably the worst areas we've got,
I think she labeled those as priority 1 and 2.
which comes up to about $616,000.
Right, I think.
We'll go all the way.
we haven't spent any money, and we haven't done anything to maintain this district, and since the last levy failed, I do think we probably need to spend some money, or we're gonna have bigger problems later if we don't.
I agree. Definitely think the scans should be done for the roofs. I'm a little confused of how you can get the scans and then they can throw you a price out to the side without doing the scans.
What do you mean?
Like they've got a repair estimate of $10,000, but they haven't done the scan yet.
Well, that was when they came out and did their initial assessments, and they took some core cuts, and they were just kind of looking at the style of roofs that we had and things like that. That was just kind of their ballpark. Now, they gave us a range, and for the purpose of this presentation, I took the higher end of the range, just so that,
Okay.
you know, to give us a little bit of leeway on there. So, you know, for EIS, it may have been 15,000 to 20,000, something in there. I threw 20,000 on there, just, you know, I felt like better to estimate high than low.
And they think they can do all this over the summer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we gotta do something or kids are gonna have to wear raincoats to classes, so it's getting pretty bad. I think we need to do the scans and I think we need to go ahead and approve it. Market.
So we want to do all three priorities, so we're doing all the parking lots? Or
What do you,
That would be my recommendation.
what is it again?
I mean, they have three different priorities. I mean, how dire is EPS and the ECC?
EMS.
So this is the, go to the EPS, EPS, so
Do we have a,
what that's showing right there is basically the whole parking lot at Baybeck needs to be milled and overlaid.
We will wait for just phase two, maybe a next year project. I mean, as far as,
I'm just thinking that if we do priority 1 and 2 and then move to this one, priority 3.
So
at a later
we're not
date.
saying doing anything over there, we're not even gonna
We could,
crack repair.
no, we could do minimum repairs. But you're talking about, well, but then again, that's about
$35,000 compared to $140.
Yeah, if you remember, we can't use this money for anything other than, I mean, it's not like we can put it into the general fund and pay bills with it. This is the only thing we can do is projects that are, and we're gonna put more money in there next year than we do it every year. So I mean, we haven't done anything in this district to maintain our facilities in a couple of years. We're talking about a difference of about $100,000, but if we do this now, we won't have to do it again for a long time.
I personally would like to see the scans come back on the roofs before.
Well, he's talking about parking.
I'm talking about parking.
Yeah, well, before I would kind of go,
Oh, you
before I
just
would
see
agree
what
with
that
the last EPC and EECC.
And I do know Blacktop's got a whole lot more expensive over the last couple of years, and I don't anticipate that's gonna slow down anytime soon.
I agree.
Gas, oil's coming down, so paving comes down. But
All right, thank you.
false assumption.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said it was a false assumption,
That was bullshit.
or what would appear to be one.
So you're saying you want to know how much the roof repairs are gonna be before we
In
agree
case,
to all
yeah, in
of
case
those?
there's a couple $100,000 worth of roof repairs that we might need prior to
So we will
doing
get
the
the
second
scan,
phase.
we want to get the scan done first, make sure we don't have any surprises, and then move forward with everything else.
I think so.
I would be comfortable with that.
How much time do we have to let Naira know
I mean, you know,
so they can do it this summer?
I had told them that I would have an answer for them after this board meeting, but I mean, they're at our mercy, so I mean, if we have to wait, we wait, you know. That, it's what, three weeks, the next board meeting's May 19th. I think we should get on their schedule, but
The only thing that's in question is 7 Mile and Big Bag. That's the only thing that we're questioning right now.
We approve
So we got 2 points.
priority 1 and 2 for the middle school and EIS, have the scans done, and then we can reevaluate the other buildings.
Which those are fairly small parking lots
Yeah, yeah,
in comparison.
yeah.
I think
And
that's
we'd already
fine.
be on their schedule, so could they just like add
Yes,
it and?
yeah, and when you talk to these companies, you know, everything's about mobilization. If they're gonna have all of this stuff out here, just moving into different buildings, really a non-issue. They already have everything they need, you know what I mean, as opposed to just coming out here for one building and then leaving. So, get on the schedule for the 2 main buildings and the bus lot. Adding the other buildings is not gonna be a big deal.
Yeah, I'm most concerned about the drains at the middle school. I'm just concerned we're gonna pipes bust up and that takes us in a whole different direction.
Yeah.
We'll make sure those are checked prior to any blacktop.
So do we need to amend the
Yeah.
motion?
I'm gonna look for a motion to approve.
No, we gotta wait till.
We gotta wait till we get to that.
Okay.
We'll do some pre-vote.
But
Sounds
no,
good.
I'm comfortable with where we're at. I think we can talk through this and go vote.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Trying to get it out of the way. All right.
Public participation.
All right, we don't have anybody signed up for public participation. So, Mrs. Bauer, would you like to get started?
Yes, Mr. Gabbard, I would like to ask for a motion to block items A through E and approve all of the past board meeting minutes.
We'll look for a motion to approve board minutes A through E as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Ashcraft. Mrs. Bauer, would you call a roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
And Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve item F, which is the March financial reports as presented.
I'm looking for a motion to approve the March 25 financial reports as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Pressler. Mrs. Bauer, would you call a roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next, Mr. Gabbard, I would like to block item G and H. These are new fund special cost centers.
Looking for a motion to approve G and H as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Pressler. Mrs. Bauer, would you call a roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler. Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next, I would like to block items A through M. These are all special service contracts.
I through M.
Yep.
We'll look for a motion to approve items I through M for special service contracts.
Are you saying M or N?
M as in Mary.
M.
Okay.
And as in Mark.
So moved.
Mr. Michael Pressler, do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Are these continuations or are they new contracts?
So item H is just, it's added on for this year. We needed coverage for someone who was out. All of the others are for FY26.
But are these new issues or are these things we've
No.
approved before, it's just printing
Things
it
we
for
have
next year?
now, these are contracts for next year.
One thing is new, it's a small amount, it is, PE for the preschool curriculum that you're required to get, so it provides PE, 6 hours of PE with the teachers. I
Okay.
think it's a couple
On the console.
Okay.
It's a small amount. The rest of them, the rest of those are student technologies and hearing services for students in routine. And then preschool PD, mainly works with 4 step up the quality and licensing requirements. Again, that's pretty small.
Okay.
We're working with the Butler County Educational Service Center. We're doing a new curriculum for our preschool program and we're teaming up with them. We're getting it through the College of Mount St. Joe. So they will be coming to the ESC and we're splitting the cost with the Educational Service Center so that they will pay the majority and they're only charging us per person. They're not charging us by the district and they obviously have a lot more staff members there. So they will be going there typically about once a month all next year when we're going to our 4-day-a-week program. This will pick up that. So it'll be our step up to quality that we have to have.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any more discussion?
No.
Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Michael Pressler?
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard?
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. The next agenda item is McGraw-Hill English Language Arts Curriculum for FY26. And I'll note that this is a 6-year program.
Looking for a motion to approve the FY26 curriculum quote for 6 years.
So moved.
Mrs. Ashcraft, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Pressler. Discussion?
Where's Scott?
Yeah, what
Is
is
there
that?
anything you want to tell us? I mean,
Well, I will say.
sell
that
it to us.
They are in dire need of a curriculum. In fact, I saw Miss Jekyll, I believe, she was involved in our pilot. One of the teachers here today, and we might have a few more. They are in dire need of a curriculum. Historically, most 6 to 12 or 7 to 12 ELA departments have read novels. And when they read the novels, there's a lot of heavy lifting to do to correlate the novels with the state standards and try to build your own curriculum maps and your pacing guides and figure out how you're going to connect this book, whatever it might be, you know, Huckleberry Finn. You can't get out of school without reading that, for goodness sake. So, like, what this provides is a science of reading aligned curriculum for our teachers to be able to follow with a scope and sequence that has been research-based. There's a library, I think, of about, Ms. Jekyll, if I speak out of line, make sure you interrupt and say, slow it down for a second. So there's a library of about 2,000 novels that are digitally accessible on here. So one of the things that I was hoping we might be able to do if this carries into the high school level eventually, because science of reading is coming up to that grade level, is leverage into this online portal of novels to be able to not have the students have to purchase all the novels that they do every year at the high school level. They really are working out of novels, and kudos to them for even being able to achieve at whatever level they've been able to achieve at or grow at in the last couple of years. I underestimated the need for this until we went over with our ESC specialist, Robin Zeri, who we hired. That's one of our ESC contracts. She's been over there many, many days doing a lot of different, they have really owned this. I didn't choose this. I told them to follow board policy. They looked through 6 or 7 different curriculums, and they boiled down to want to actually pilot this. I think your pilot is still going on, Ms. Jekyll. Are you still doing it, or did it end? It ended. So we had to purchase a little bit of time for them to access the online materials. But I can't believe they've done even what they've been able to get done over there with trying to align novels to state standards and create their own pacing guides and curriculum guides. And, you know, it occurred to me, no wonder they want Scholastic Magazine every single year, because, man, I'd want Scholastic Magazine too if I didn't have anything to work from. For me, the 152 divided by 6 years, you get an awful lot of bang for your buck for our teachers. You can imagine showing up 175, 6, 8, whatever days they work in a year, trying to have to create these lesson plans every night. It's a lot to ask when you don't have a curriculum you can hand them. It's like showing up as a football coach, but you don't have football. So to me, we probably should have done this a couple of years ago, but we had such a need at our elementary levels when we bought the Amplified stuff. I don't think I've ever been thanked enough to even say we were looking at trying to do something when we had our initial meeting back in September. So to me, it's, I don't know, somewhat inexcusable not to have something better than we have right now. This is a real big need for our students and our teachers. If we want to expect them to grow and achieve, we got to put something in their hand that we believe and they believe. There's high fidelity or high buy-in right now because our teachers have bought into this curriculum on their own. So I think that'll also mean that there'll be a really high level of fidelity trying to implement. And that's a really big deal when it's not something I handed them and said you have to do it and then try to sell them. They've already bought into this on their own. So I think that means there's going to be a really high level of implementation as well. And that matters. So.
Well, my next question is, we have curriculum funds built into our budget, correct?
We do.
Okay. Does this take us over it, or?
It's not gonna take us over it, no.
This will be for next year, and it'll be our largest. We won't buy any large-scale curriculums next year besides this. Our math will be due after next year for K-8, so that'll be the large purchase for the following year. But everything else that we buy next year is going to be via, our softwares and different resources we use to supplement some of this for students who don't get it the first time around,
Okay.
which we call Tier 1 instruction.
How much did you have budgeted for curriculum this year?
We had 500,000 budgeted.
How much have we spent already?
Well, this is for next year, so.
What's that?
This is for next year, so.
Yes, this is next year's. We may have gone over just a little bit this year, next year. We're just now starting to get purchase orders in place. We're still looking at identifying.
So you're saying we're over right now?
Just in the FY25.
So is this a 25 or a 26
This is
purchase?
26. It's a 6 year, so 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
So for 26, we haven't spent anything
We
yet?
have not spent any curriculum money.
And we had 500 budgeted
We
for?
have 500,000 budgeted.
And you're saying that you don't think that there'll be any other large purchases?
Nothing near this cost here. No. Now the following year, there's probably going to be about a $300,000 math, or 2 to 4, maybe 250, because we're doing way more grades. But again, I want to run a pilot that is a legit pilot for teachers to be able to do the same process. We did this with science the year before. I think I've seen some science teachers here from the middle school. They really love the process. They worked with a Butler County consultant, and it's been really, really great to see the teachers have something that they were involved with in the choosing of what they're using. And it's been the same way for ELA, so we'll try to just duplicate that down the
We
road.
have a lot of software. Scott and Josh have been working on this little smaller things, 10,000 here, 15,000 here, that they're evaluating to see who's using it, how many teachers are using it,
Yeah.
what classrooms are using it, so that we can dial it in. And our hope is that if we get some of these more beneficial packages in here that we can use, that maybe we don't need some of these little smaller things that we're buying. So.
Correct.
And I'm not balking at this because I'm questioning it. I mean, I appreciate the work you put into it and the teachers and staff that look at it, I mean, just to be transparent, I got a daughter who's going to be in 8th grade next year that will get to use this. So, I think it's something that we need. I take education very serious, but I'm asking these questions because obviously money is extremely tight right now. I want to make sure we're making the right decisions and that we have the money to spend. So it's not that I'm questioning the curriculum. I'm just questioning, do we have the money for this?
Well, not that I don't believe you, but Ms. Shekel, was this the curriculum you guys picked out?
Yes, like so we researched them and we found all the different ones and we decided which ones we wanted to look at, and then we requested them to send them to us, and then we were going to pilot 2. We only piloted 1. We didn't like it. All the teachers were piloting it. If we didn't like it, then we were going to look at the other one, and none of the teachers wanted to look at the other one.
Okay. Thank you. Any more discussion?
No, sir.
Mrs. Bowers, you call roll, please?
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler?
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. The next agenda item is the FY '26 student fee schedule.
Looking for a motion to approve the 26 student fee schedule as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Pressler. It's pretty much the same as last year.
Yes.
Do we want to table this as, until at least after the 11th? Can we afford to push this into May?
Yes, we could. I mean, May would be, you want to inform the parents. I mean, this is on time, but May wouldn't be a problem. I just like to do it before they get out of school so they can make plans for the next school year. But
Are you thinking?
Well, there's been some discussion about this, and we changed school fees the last time 11 failed. I mean, do we want to do this now, or do we want to wait?
you want me to give you a little bit of insight on the things that could probably change if we were going to raise them?
Sure.
Might help you. Most of it is standard. You can see the math workbook, it's $35 they're paying for it. ELA workbook, $36, they're paying for that. The only one that has a little bit of wiggle room is the electronic learning fee. I tried to standardize that for all grades to just eliminate confusion. So it's $42. That's the only one that I usually ever get questions about from parents that'll say, hey, where's it all go to? As Ms. Bowers just alluded to, there are a couple of things that we'll buy that might be like $7,600 for a district license, and 21 classes are using it. It could be a 3rd grade class, could be a 5th grade class, and then a couple 7th and 8th grade class. Usually we eat that cost. Josh Stapleton and I over the last, well, today as a matter of fact, and over the last couple of weeks, we've been looking at where exactly we've tried to cut the pizza by square, by triangles, fit a square peg in a round hole. And what we came to the conclusion is, and I have a little a spreadsheet that we helped develop here, and we ask ourselves, what do all students use? Not what do 7 teachers need. Those are the things we might consider saying, we're not going to buy that anymore. That's $7,600. We're not going to buy this whatever anymore. That's $12,000. You might be able to eliminate $40,000 that's actually coming out of the curriculum budget that parents are not paying for. So the teachers are getting, or the parents are getting more for the $42 than they're actually paying for. So I said all that to say, if we were to raise electronic fee for kindergarten, it would raise it from $120 to $128. Let me find one that would go up a little bit, and I'll tell you where the money is attributed to. Middle school could go from $148 to $178. They pay for MAP, which is a ELA and math benchmark assessment. They pay for Success Maker, which is a math progress monitoring tool that we use. These are all like $12 to $20 a piece. There are softwares that we have to use that are grade-wide that we say, yes, every kid that walks through Edgewood Middle School is going to use that software. Every kid who walks through EECC is going to use that software. So if we do that, I feel much more comfortable about telling a parent, you give me your money, you give us your money, you will definitely get this. When you try to a la carte it with all the other, and we literally have 53 other softwares besides our main, like grade band softwares. If you try to a la carte that and figure out who's supposed to get what, you're going to get a fee from a parent, and they're not going to get what you said they paid for, and that's where I get uneasy about making sure the funds go where we said they're going to go, and you don't want to go down that road. So the only ones that really have wiggle room are the electronic fee, and they could go up by anywhere from $10 to $30 per grade level. The other stuff is like self-explanatory. The workbook costs $34, they're buying it. Or a workbook costs $35, they're buying it.
So these are actual costs for all
Yes.
the materials?
Yes. except for the electronic fees, and we could, we could increase those. It's not substantially, like I'm looking at the middle school, it would go from 148 to 178.
What about the high school?
High school would go from 34, or the electronic fee would go from 30 to 44, so it'd raise $14.
Okay.
These fees are hard to get.
But I thought it was more significant than that. No, I'm okay with that.
And then the high school gets the easiest, right? Because you can see the students where they take the course, the fees listed there. A little different for the lower grades, but the electronic fees are where there's a little bit of room. There's not a lot though. Where Josh and I are going to try to cut is, since we are getting better grade level curriculum now, can we cut some of the stuff that the teachers have said they needed to help supplement a curriculum? For example, ELA at the middle school that they don't have, so they find all these cool resources and we dump $15,000 into it, and then we have no way of measuring whether or not we feel it's effective or not. So
I appreciate your explanation, because honestly, I don't know what these books cost. I don't know what these materials cost.
yes, those are the
Where
costs. Yep, I
these
had
are actual costs.
Yep. And I'm glad you approved the curriculum, because that ELA workbook, so you recoup a little bit of the cost. The $152, we're collecting $30 a student to get the workbook that comes with that curriculum just approved. And that's what Ms. Bauer and I have also discussed. How can we get a true measure? So
Is that factored into these numbers?
the 152,
Well, the new curriculum.
no, that's what I'm saying. We will recoup some of that, but it goes into a student fee account. It doesn't go into the curriculum account. So we've talked, how do we, we're really not paying 152. The parents are paying us back for some of that. They're paying $30 a workbook for probably 900 kids that go to our middle school times 6. You're probably recouping $30,000 or $40,000 of that, which means you're getting the curriculum for 110, if that makes sense.
It does, thank you.
Yeah, and those workbooks are ordered all ahead of time. So that 152, I always hear about we have too many workbooks, we're wasting money. If there's a stack of workbooks, like for example our math workbooks that were overloaded at the middle school, those were paid for all the way back when Mr. Steiner was here. You can't save money on the workbooks, they've already been bought. Same way with our ELA that you just approved. We get workbooks supplied to us every year for the next 6 years. And when the kids get it, they'll pay a $30 fee, and that goes into a fee fund, if that makes sense too.
Yep.
So it offsets the cost.
I get it, thank you.
Any more discussion?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Bowers, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Barry Gabbard.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. The next agenda item is a school care service agreement.
For a motion to approve the school care service agreement as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Pressler. Discussion?
Well, can you tell us what the price is?
Ms. Adams, can you?
Yeah, this is a free service.
Why is
Everybody's
It's free.
right.
So so essentially what this was brought to my attention by our health specialist and district nurse. It's an electronic charting program for them. So if you talk to them, they do a lot of their charting and documentation by hand. This is a free service, and when I heard that it was free, I questioned that because, I don't know, that just, it seemed weird. So I met with them a couple of times, and I kept asking them, how is it free? Why is it free? This doesn't make any sense to me. So essentially what it is they work with the district, and families can opt in to what they call like a continuum of care. So if you have a student that has chronic health needs or things that need to be done beyond the school, they can work with the family to provide some of that care on the back end. That has nothing to do with us. All of this goes through insurance companies and things like that, but there's no cost to the district. So what they do with us is they provide us with the electronic charting. what the easiest way to implement it would be probably through final forms. It would just be like a simple kind of a checkbox with an explanation and a letter from them that says, hey, would you like to opt into this? You know, and then they work with the family. So Fairfield uses it. It came highly recommended from other district nurses, and it's HIPAA compliant, it's FERPA compliant. Those were some of the main questions that I asked. I wanted to make sure it would talk to our like progress book and our systems. I sat in with Marianne Linville, who works in our tech department. She sat in with us to talk about the integration piece. It's very simple. They might as well have been speaking a different language, but she knew what they were talking about. It was very simple on her end. It was kind of a quick. And so when Beth Birchwell, our district nurse, approached me with it, she said, I'm getting ready to retire. This is something I desperately want for my team moving forward to make their lives so much easier in the nurse's office when they have students come in. It allows them to track immunization records and things like that they have to kind of chase down on their own. They would have access to like state databases and things like that to be able to get those records without having to chase them down. So just a nice program at no cost to the district to alleviate some of the headaches and the day-to-day documentation for our school nurses.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mrs. Bauer, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Thank you. Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. The next agenda item is a Johnson Controlled Service renewal.
Looking for a motion to approve the Johnson Control Service renewal as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Pressler. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
And Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. The next agenda item is the Garland proposal.
Looking for a motion to approve the Garland proposal as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Ashcraft. Discussion. We want to just get the scans done right now before we approve any?
That's what this is for.
That's what this is for, okay.
Yeah. This is roofing,
Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
just for scans.
Yes.
Mr.
Well,
Mark.
hold
Oh,
on.
sorry.
So, do we have to come back and do this, to approve the cost of the actual work after the scan is done, or are we giving her the ability to move forward on that now?
We can get the scan first. If we do all of the scans in one agreement, it's $9,300 to do every facility. So we can do that. We have another board meeting in 3 weeks. If they can get us on the agenda and get in that quick, hopefully we can come back to you.
Does that work for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Weather permitting, it'd be done within a couple weeks, right? Okay.
Yeah, my hope is to be able to come back to say, here's the information from the scans, here's what they're estimating the work, the maintenance cost to be for each building.
All right,
So
thank
we
you.
wanna just table this and bring it back.
We want the scans.
We want the
The
scans.
whole scan.
Yep.
I think that's all it is, right?
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking, because I thought we were talking about, was this gonna hold up getting the work started? But it doesn't sound like it's gonna be a problem.
Ms. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. The next agenda item is the NYRA paving quotes.
Looking for a motion to approve the NYRA paving quotes as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
I thought we were amending this.
That's.
We gotta,
So you get a
we have
motion
to
to
do
talk
that.
about.
No, we have to file it as amended because she's asking for all of this, so right? So we need to amend the motion.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Do we know what we're amending? I'm gonna look for a motion to approve the NYRA paving quotes as amended.
So moved.
Mrs. Ashcraft, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Messerschmidt. Now we need to figure out what we're gonna amend. We doing EMS, EIS, and the bus lot? Which comes to $616.
And we're doing We're not doing anything.
Do we seal it? Do we seal it?
Wait, no, we did strike it, we just did it right. Or did you, I don't know.
Crack seal it and seal cooked out the other two?
You got the money. We haven't spent any money on this district in
Want to
2
just do
years.
them all? I just would like to see the roofing scans come back before, just in case something hits us there.
Why don't we go
Yeah,
ahead and,
that's
yeah,
fine.
let's go ahead and do, we know we gotta do middle school, we know we gotta do
That's fine.
EIS, let's do that, and then
Get 'em all
we'll add the building at 7 Mile and Baybeck after we
Get the scan.
get the scan and make sure there's no surprises.
I agree.
That's what we decided.
Alright, so we're gonna do EMS, EIS, and the bus lot.
We get on the schedule, and if we add, if you think that's okay.
See how we want to proceed with the other two
The
buildings.
recommended or this one?
The recommended.
Recommended. You guys seen how much she's squirming over us spending this money? I'm kidding.
I'm not,
It's all
I
right.
drive on that parking lot, I see what it looks like.
Mrs. Bowers, you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard?
Yes.
Mr. Michael Presley?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Next, I would like to block items U, B, W, and X. These are all
I
donations.
think your letters are off.
Yeah. I'm looking for a motion to block T through W as presented.
Our X is your informational items.
We've been one off. Pretty much all night. But we got it. So I'm gonna block T through W as presented.
So moved.
Mrs. Ashcraft, do I have a second?
Second.
You okay?
Yeah. Can I acknowledge these folks for
Yeah.
their, so, there was a memorial donation, for Robert Simpson from Deborah Buckner, John and Jenny Thomas, and Cynthia and John Mail. There was a memorial donation, for Carolyn Sloniker. Then we have the Pee Wee football donation to athletics for $3,000. And then we have a donation of $250 toward lunch fees from Mr. Mark and Katie Messerschmidt. We're very grateful for those donations.
Thank you.
Good job, Mark. Mrs. Bowers, do you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler?
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard?
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt?
Abstain.
That is all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Bowers. Next up, we have superintendent items, Mr. Philpott.
So we just have a few field trips. Item A are 2 overnight field trips, the boys and girls basketball camps. They're going in June to Transylvania University. We've both been there a few times. Ask you to approve those overnight field trips, boys and girls basketball.
I'm looking for a motion to approve the 2 overnight field trips to Transylvania as presented.
So,
Mr. Michael Pressler, second. Mr. Messerschmidt. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Michael Pressler?
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard?
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item B is a day field trip for the 2nd grade. They go down to the Chisholm Park here in Woodsdale, just their annual 2nd grade trip. It's a social studies trip. They do it every year to meet their social studies, some of their social studies standards.
Looking for a motion to approve the day field trip for the 2nd grade.
So moved.
Mrs. Ashcraft, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft?
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt?
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard?
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler?
yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item C, there was a book that was in the book fair back in February at the middle school that a parent had concerns about, and it turned out that we also had, it was a series, it wasn't just a book, but a series. We actually had a book in our collection from that series. So when the parent had concerns about the book that was at the book fair, we pulled it from the book fair and we pulled it from the collection in the library to get the curriculum review committee to take a look at it, which was process and board policy. So Mr. Fussnecker, the librarian, I think Mr. Ehlers was part of that, a couple teachers. They reviewed the book, and after reviewing the book, they determined that the book approval form there is included, determined that the book was not inappropriate for middle school age children. So their recommendation would be to return the book to our collection. And then if that collection is in the book fair, it obviously wasn't able to be purchased this year because we pulled it, but it could be in the collection next year. It would be something that would be pulled.
So it's not part of any curriculum, but it's just a book that is available to the district. All right.
Oh, I thought you guys used it in the curriculum. No, okay.
Just a book in the library, and then a book that was part of the book fair that kids could purchase.
Okay.
It's very popular. It's a series, and it's kind of like a Harry Potter, where there's all kinds. It's almost like a comic book, but I guess there's some movies associated with that series too that maybe are a little more graphic and gory. So I think maybe that was the concern. And the book that was reviewed was the one that was in our collection in the library.
So you would like to,
If you approve it, we're going to return it to the shelf.
okay.
That was the recommendation of the committee that reviewed the book and discussed it.
All right, I'm gonna look for a motion for reconsideration of the book at the EMS.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Pressler. Mrs. Bauer, would you call roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item D is the list of the class of 2025, the graduating class, candidates for graduation. Don't we go ahead and get that approved tonight, so you wouldn't have to have a special meeting the day of graduation or between now and graduation day. So there's your list of potential graduates.
For a motion to approve the list of the 2025 graduates.
I'll make a motion. Last Ashcraft one.
Ms. Ashcraft.
In the last private, right?
And do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt. Are we sure that the Ashcraft kids are on track?
Yes.
We'll
Yes.
highlight it.
All right.
All
All
They don't walk across that onion right.
Mrs. Bowers, do you call a roll, please?
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
So the last item, well, not the last item, item E is the list of the policies. I wasn't serving in this role when Neola comes. They come quarterly, and Neola does our board policies, you're aware. A lot of times these are first reads, and they just reflect legislative changes. There's changes in language that reflect changes in legislation. This is a group of policies that were reviewed. I don't know if Patty, you're part of that, but Kelly was at the last Neola meeting, and this is a first read for you guys to review. You'll vote on those at the next board meeting.
All right, thank you, Mr. Philpott.
Yes. And then the last one, I believe that the jazz band was, we thought maybe they were going to perform today and had a conflict and they were not able to perform here at this meeting. I don't know, maybe that was scheduled at some point. Mr. Arnold reached out to me and told me they had a conflict, they couldn't perform. He wanted to send his condolences for not being able to perform, but let you know that the jazz band's been doing real well. On March 22nd, they participated in the Ohio State Jazz Festival. Students received very high praise from the judges concerning the performance, And student Olivia Cipolla, am I saying that right?
Cipolla, yeah.
Cipolla was presented with an outstanding soloist award. And then also 3 Edgewood seniors were selected to perform in the University of Dayton Honor Jazz Ensemble. Isaac Baxley, Olivia Cipolla, and Lucas Simpson participated in the first ever University of Dayton Honor Jazz Ensemble. After just a few rehearsals, they performed a concert at the Roger Glass Center for Arts at UD on Saturday, April 12th. The band had a spectacular performance, and Edgewood was represented with style and class. And Mr. Arnold would like to invite you to the final jazz performance of the year on Thursday, May 15th at 7 p.m. here in Heritage Hall. And good opportunity to come out and hear the awesome jazz band perform. It's free and open to the public, by the way. That's all.
Great.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Philpott. Next up, we have items for board members. Mr. Messerschmidt.
So if you haven't had an opportunity to see the jazz band, I got to see them a few months back. It is definitely worth adding to your calendar and coming and seeing that. So I want to just say thank you to Patty for some information that she put together and gave to me a few weeks ago. And I know there's been a lot of misinformation out there about finances. There's been a lot of misinformation out there about the levy. What I wanted to say is that Patty actually put together a district profile report that compares Edgewood City Schools against the other 9 districts in Butler County. It's a lot of data. Tells you the tax data from the district, tells you the cost to educate a student, tells you the revenue that comes in, has average salary for people inside the district, has the average income, people living inside the district, has the pupil to administrative ratio, has the demographics of our students. It has everything. And these aren't Edgewood numbers. These come from the Ohio Department of Education, Office of Budget and School Funding. Pretty interesting document. And over the last week and a half, I've spent an awful lot of time looking at it. And just a couple things that came to mind as I look at this is that in terms of where we stand in funding, Edgewood is in the bottom third of the 10 districts in Butler County in terms of dollars per student that comes in, state, federal, and other funding means. So we're at the bottom of the ladder in terms of the money that we get. But if you look at what it costs to educate kids, we're in the top third as far as being able to do it at the lowest cost, the lowest revenue. If you take these numbers and you compare them against similar districts, we are well above the performance of districts that are very similar to us, and we are way above state averages. So really, as I kind of went through this, I found that was very promising, because I do think we're good stewards with our money, and I think that we're doing an awful lot with the resources that we're given. As you dig into this a little bit deeper, the percentage of students inside the district that are identified as having disabilities are 19%, which is well above the average for districts that are similar to ours. It's well above the average for the state. And when you compare that inside Butler County, we are in the top 4 in terms of highest percentage of kids with a disability. And the schools that are above us are New Miami, Hamilton, and Middletown, and they're not that much higher than us. So I actually had some conversation with Patty today about some of these contracts and some of the things that we're doing, and a lot of this is IEP related. And I asked her how much of this that we actually recover. And we probably recover about half of it. So obviously I think that you could probably make a comparison, or at least draw some conclusions that the more students that we have with disabilities probably leads to some special accommodations, or at least as an IEP. So when you add that into the funding that we have, and the fact that we don't recoup all of that, I kind of look at this holistically, and I think that this information in these 3 pages kind of helps me draw an impression or an opinion of how the district does when compared to the rest of Butler County and really districts all over the state. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this because, I've seen some of the comments on social media. They won't show us their books, they won't show us their numbers. We'll show our numbers if anybody'd like to see them. But I think what people really should want to see is this right here, because this isn't our numbers, these are numbers from the state of Ohio. So I wanted to talk about this, and thank you, Patty, for pulling this together, putting it together for us. And I just want to let anybody that's here tonight or anybody that's watching, if you're interested in this information, I'll be glad, or Patty would be glad to get you a copy of it, because it does tell the story. It tells you where Edgewood ranks amongst all other districts in Butler County and across the rest of the state. So just want to say thank you for pulling this together. It was very educational for me. I think it's a useful document. If anybody's interested, I think we can work to get a copy for anybody who'd like to see it.
I looked at that too, and it was really good information. The thing that stood out to me, because I've been looking at a lot of data too in the last 3 weeks, more than I probably envisioned I would be. But one thing I noticed, because I asked Chris Brown to send me all the salaries of basically the teacher salaries for the whole county, and I noticed that in the county, our starting teacher pay is the 3rd lowest in the county. But on that particular sheet, it just says average teacher salary. Ours was one of the highest. But then if you dig deeper into it, it shows a percentage of the teachers that have 10 or more years experience. And every other school has a lot fewer teachers with 10 or more experience. So in other words, we have a veteran staff. And obviously it's going to cost more for a veteran staff than a staff with a lot of beginners. And I don't know, my kids are grown now, but when I was a young parent with kids starting school, I was probably, if I was selecting the teachers, I was probably choosing a teacher with a few years under their belt versus brand new. Not that our brand new ones aren't doing a great job, but so that's a little misleading because our teachers are pretty low paid, but our average on that particular report shows a little higher because of the fact that we have a veteran staff. So
yeah, I think we're highest in Butler County in terms of number of teachers or percentage of teachers over 10 years.
10 more years. Yeah, and that's going to
which says a lot about our district.
Yeah, it's going to change over the next 5 because of the changes to STRS. So there's going to be some incentives for some of those veterans to retire here in the next few years, if they can. But that is really good information.
Yep.
Is this information something that can be sent out district-wide?
You can pick and choose. You can compare Edgewood to 3 other districts. You can pick and choose the schools you want to compare to. There's probably a link you could share out on the website or something that people could pick and choose.
If we were going to send it out, I'd recommend you send it out just like this, because this compares us literally against every district in Butler County. Really good information.
Did you combine them all on one document?
No, they're 3 separate documents.
Oh, 3 separate, yeah. Okay.
If we're going to send it out, I'd recommend sending it out just like that.
We'll try to make that happen.
That's all we got, Gary. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Messerschmidt. Mrs. Ashcraft?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ashcraft. Mr. Pressman?
Nothing, sir.
I don't really have a whole lot to add. Mark covered a lot of what we all probably would like to say. You gotta be careful what we do say. So, at this time, I'm gonna look for a motion to move to executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Preston. Mrs. Bauer, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 at 7:48 p.m.
All right, we are back from executive session. It is 9:13. Item A, I'm going to look for a motion to approve the administration certified classified exempt and supplemental nominations as presented.
So moved.
Mrs. Ashcraft, do I have a second? Second. Mr. Messerschmidt. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item B, supplemental nomination of Tim Pressler. Looking for a motion to approve the nomination of Tim Pressler.
So moved.
Mrs. Ashcraft, Mr. Messerschmidt. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Abstain.
Next, I have item C, resolution to initiate procedures under Ohio law for reemployment of retired employees.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Ashcraft. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Looking at item D, resolution to suspend administrative staff contract as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Ashcraft. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item E, resolution to suspend the certified staff contracts as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Pressler. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Item F, resolution to suspend classified staff contracts as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Pressler. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
And last, we have item G, resolution to suspend exempt staff contract as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Ashcraft. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
All that was on the agenda that the public sees without any, just those, did they see all that, the public see all that?
Let
They
me
can see
get-
it after.
Let me get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Messerschmidt, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Michael Pressler. Mrs. Bowers, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Mark Messerschmidt.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Pressler.
Yes.
Mr. Gary Gabbard.
Yes.
Mrs. Amy Ashcraft.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. It is 9:16 PM.